Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today to discuss about obfuscation for mobile apps. My name is Marc, and I'm the CTO and co-founder at Build38, where we do security for mobile apps. Our solution goes beyond, well beyond obfuscation. But today, we are here to discuss obfuscation. We just have 20 minutes, so let's dive right in to the topic. Let's start with the basics. What is obfuscation? So if we look it up in Wikipedia, what we are going to get is that obfuscation is the obscuring of the intended meaning of communication by making the message difficult to understand, usually with confusing and ambiguous language. Okay, but what does that mean for us as developers? So when we talk about obfuscating source code, the idea is that the code that we ship or the binary that we ship has some properties that make it difficult to understand to undesired eyes, to someone outside of your organization. Okay? What we don't want is that anyone can understand the code that we wrote just by looking at the binary that we shipped. Here we have two examples of code, A and B. In case you don't trust me, these both do the same. First one is not obfuscated, second one is. Okay? If you look at the one on the top, with a matter of seconds, you are going to understand what is it doing. Whereas if you look at the second one, probably if you invest enough time and put enough energy into understanding it, you would, but of course it would take you much, much, much more time. So this is the idea behind obfuscation, making sure that, or trying to make it so difficult for someone to understand that it's very, almost impossible. But why would you do that? Well, when we talk about mobile apps, we are at Draycon, so let's talk about the case for mobile applications. You write your code, you build your APK, you put it on the Play Store. From there, anyone can grab it and look into its contents. Okay? It's fairly easy to do so. There are plenty of mirrors or web pages where you can download the APK and plenty of tools to just unpack those. And of course, we as developers, code is what we produce, it's our IP. So in the best case scenario, someone can get it and try to copy what we are doing. And it's, as IP, you don't want anyone to just do that. But on the worst case scenario, someone can understand the code to the point where they can manipulate it, change it in such a way that the code behaves in a different way than the one you intended to. So they can, for example, remove paywalls to access paid content for free, or they can even inject malicious code that harvests user credentials, sending them to an attacker server. Okay? And this is where obfuscation can help us. It's one of the tools that we, as security researchers, can provide to the developer community to protect their applications. Of course, that doesn't come for free, unfortunately. So when you do obfuscation properly, and when we talk about obfuscation, don't think about method renaming, think of the second slide with these two pieces of code. When we do it properly, we are injecting code that is making the application bigger and making the application slower. We are going to inject routines to decrypt strings at runtime. We are going to be injecting paths of execution that will never run, but just for the attacker to have to look into them. We are going to be expanding simple cryptographic, simple mathematical operations into more complex ones that will evaluate to the same final result, but only at runtime you see this. When you look at the code statically, they are very different. So the impact is on size and in performance, but also in troubleshooting issues in production. So because the goal of production is making the code that you ship different from the code that you write, when you get reports through the Play Store or you get reports through Cachelytics, it is likely that it's going to be more difficult to pinpoint this specific crash on the production code to the real line of code that actually produces this bug. So all of these you have to consider when you want to apply obfuscation. And this is why my recommendation would be that you do it only on these parts of the application where it is sensitive or that you want to protect. If you want to obfuscate the whole application, you are going to end up with something that is huge and it is slow, and that's not good for user experience. And now I could go on and enter into the details of every single obfuscation technique that is out there, but probably that would not be very interesting for you. And also, It's written in papers, so if anyone is interested, you can spend a lot of time reading into this. But as developers, I think one of the things we can and we want to look at is how the choice of programming language that we use affects the result of the obfuscation, or how hard it is to understand the code depending on the programming language that we use. Because even if all the techniques, the obfuscation techniques, can be applied to any programming language, the end result is going to be massively different depending on how we do this. And I want to show it by example. So I'm going to be putting some 3 pieces of code or decompiled code in the screen. I'm going to give you a minute to try to understand what do they do in different languages, and you are going to see the differences between all of them. I extracted this from real APKs. It's not something I've made up. I put it from out of APKs. There's just minimal obfuscation applied. Okay, there's just method renaming so that you cannot guess what the function is doing just by looking at the name. Let's start with the first one, JavaScript code. I'll give you a minute. Please raise your hand as soon as you know what this piece of code is doing. Okay, some hands risen already. Okay, someone wants to try to give it a shot? Okay, not sure I hear it properly, but yeah, this is taking a string and a character as a parameter, and is counting how many times a character is appearing in this string. Fairly easy, right? And by the way, I did not even need to use any kind of tool. I just unzipped the APK, look where the JavaScript is in the application, and pulled it out of there. So first lesson is, if you want to obfuscate, do not use JavaScript. OK, let's go into the thing that most of you are probably using, Java, Kotlin, JVM languages. Now a minute to try to guess what this piece of code is doing. Hands up if you know what it is. Want to give it a shot? Sorry? Correct. Yeah. If someone didn't hear it, it's looking for, again, a string and a character as input, looking at which position of the string is this character appearing. Returns -1 if there's nothing. In order to get this is Smalley code. Smalley code is what you get when you decompile the DEX file inside your application. And you can extract this using APK tool on your Mac. Just pre-install APK tool. It's open source. It's free. And then with a one-liner, you extract this out of a production APK. Okay. Again, it's not the same as JavaScript. There's quite a difference, but still the small is quite high level and relatively easy to understand. Okay, let's go with the difficult one. That's C code written with the NDK. The NDK is the native development kit from Google to write C and C++ code for the Android platform. Most of you might not be familiar with it, but it's our bread and butter. That's the last one. I think we have a reverse engineer in the room. Want to give it a try?
Yeah, it's
It's?
doing the same thing.
As one. As which one? No, it's the same as the first one. Yeah, it's the same as the JavaScript code. It's counting how many times it appears on the source code. So yeah, as you can see, this is much, much more tricky. This is assembly language. I mean, this is not assembly language. Of course, the NDK compiles the C++ code to machine-readable format. And in order to get from assembly to this, I had to use Hopper Disassembler, which is a professional tool. It's paid. So even using professional tooling, looking at assembly code is really tough. So anytime you want to protect your source code and want to have something that is that sensitive, using any language that is compiled onto assembly is a very, very good option. Okay, and last but not least, let me say a few words about Flutter. Flutter is a framework. It's not a language. The language is Dart. And that has some pretty unique characteristics, such as a virtual machine that does not that just serializes the objects in runtime. That makes it not ready, or the tools are not ready to decompile Dart code. So when you try to import Dart code into the Hopper or into IDA Pro or stuff like that, they are not yet ready to parse this, and the information they give back to you is very, very little, which means that right now is a very good choice to use Dart if you want to protect your code. Of course, this is circumstantial. In 2 years from now, that's not going to be the same. The tool ecosystem and the manufacturers will have catch up because Flutter is picking up. It's just a matter of time before the tooling, the reverse engineer tools catch up. There are some open source things already available that work quite well. But still, I think it's worth to know that right now, it's a pretty good option. So, what are the takeaways I want you to take home today? Again, obfuscation helps you in protecting your source code, your IP. If there's something in your code that you don't want anyone to try to guess and copy or modify, it's a very good idea to try to obfuscate it. Most important thing is the programming language you choose is going to make a huge difference. You're using React Native. I'm sorry, guys. Try something different because it's not even compiled. The source code is minified and put into the application, so it's not even a machine-readable language. So if you can, choose anything that is compiled to assembly, C, C++, Dart. If you are using iOS, you are good because you are using Objective-C and Swift, so it's already very good. If you are using Java or Kotlin in your app, maybe a good idea is to write a piece of code in the NDK. I know no one wants to use C or C++ in their lives, but it's an option. And again, Flutter is a very good choice as of today. Again, don't take this for granted. That's going to change, but short term, it's a very, very good option. So let me finish with an announcement, actually. We believe that mobile applications should be secure and safe for everyone. So we are actually announced that we are going to be maintaining and contributing to OMBLL, part of the Open Obfuscator project, which is an obfuscator for Android NDK, iOS, and Flutter. And this was actually created not by us, by Roman Thomas, which is a well-known industry expert in the mobile security ecosystem. He did that mostly as a playground, as a tool for researchers and for companies to take home and improve. But we saw that as a very good opportunity. We've been in touch with him and talking to him on the future of the project, and we are actually becoming the lead maintainers of this. And we are committing to make this a production-grade tool for you to use into your applications. This is already in GitHub. You can try it today. But of course, if you want to use it productively, wait for a couple of months. We believe that during Q3 we are going to have it ready for production use. And with that, I'm closing here. If you have any questions, I believe we still have some minutes, right? But if not, I will be here. We have a booth there at the stand 13. So if you want to drop by, talk about mobile app security, we will be more than happy. You can contact me on my social networks. You have them here. And I will be putting the slides also on there probably this afternoon. So thank you very much, and see you around.